Hey friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is Tom Bukovac. He's going to talk about when Joe Walsh's band toured with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
We did that tour. We were opening for Tom Petty, playing all these big stadiums, arenas and types gigs, and we were doing like an opening slot. We'd go on stage at 7:30, play for 45 minutes. We were on the bus to the next gig at about 9 o'clock. We had to I remember we had a band meeting to decide what night we were going to stay behind and actually watch Tom Petty play, right? But those guys were very cool. The Tom Petty guys were so cool. They would come out and hang at the catering with us and talk to us. I remember Mike Campbell was very cool. He came up to me like one of the first nights. He was like, "Dude, that gold top Les Paul you're playing is the sound of rock and roll." He was like really cool. And the only person we never saw from that group was Tom himself. He would never come out. He would hide somewhere, and you'd never even see him until like 1 second before they walk on stage. I don't know what he was doing, but all the other cats were very social and coming around. I got to be really good friends with like Ron Blair and all the guys that were. And I've known Steve Ferroni for a long time. I was actually the first guy to hire Steve Ferroni on a Nashville session when I was producing a record years ago. So I knew some of the cats, but they're great guys, man. Just super sweet. Ben Tench is a really sweet guy, and those are good guys,
Was that Tom's last tour?
Yeah, that was the end of it.
You think that's why he was hiding off somewhere?
Yeah, I know. I heard that he was in great pain with his hip. His hip was in really bad shape. And I know he was on a fine concoction of different drugs, to sort of deal with that. But they were doing these long shows. There was like these 2-hour plus shows, and he would just sort of stand there and wouldn't really move, but I could tell he was in a lot of pain, But man, they were on that tour, 2017, they had set up a hub in Chicago. I think it was Chicago. So they hubbed out of Chicago for every gig of the tour. So they would just get on a plane, dressed for the gig already, fly, have catering, and then just chill and then go on stage. So they were already dressed when they got to the gig. They were looking cool when they got there, and they would have catering and they would hang out with us, and good guys, man. I'd love to see Mike Campbell again. I'd love to chat it up with him. And we got to talking quite a bit on that tour. You know how it is on a tour. You just sort of, night after night, you just sort of, get to know guys a little bit. But I mainly talked to him about records, That's what I like to talk to guys about, I remember asking him, people know me as a question guy because I ask a lot of questions. I love to get a party started by sort of going around the room and sort of, asking people like provocative questions. It sort of gets the room buzzing and talking, I've been doing that for a long time. People know that I do that, and it's like a thing with me, But I'm not doing it for a joke or anything. I'm just genuinely curious. I really want to know, human nature is the only thing that I'm interested in besides music. I'm fascinated with why humans act and do the things that they do. I'm really fascinated with that. And I'm studying people, and I'm studying the way they act and the way they do things. And I love to study human nature, and that question thing is part of that. I was thinking about this time when I asked Mike, because as a session player, there's a drug that happens on a session that's better than any drug that you could, like a real drug that you could ever take. And man, once you get a taste of it, you want it the rest of your life. And it's like, I call it the magic overdub. When you make a nice track, right, a nice bed track that sounds cool, but it's missing a couple things, man, if you come up with, there's this thing that happens if you get lucky and you find the part and the tone or whatever it is, if you find the fucking magic overdub that just makes the track blow open and come alive. You can't always do it, but when you do it, everybody knows it, man. You start playing something and everyone's like, dude, and like jumping up and down, and you come up with a part and it just makes the track, man. Once you feel that feeling one time, you just want to do it every day. And I love that feeling, you know, the magic overdub, man. And I asked him, I go, all those great records you guys made, I said, you know that feeling when you come up with like the banging part that just makes a track? He goes, oh yeah. I go, what moment do you remember the most of coming in and doing an overdub and just making, and everyone was like, Hitsville. And he was like, American Girl. He said when he came in, they had the track and he came in and started going ding 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 ding, that octave thing, and he said everybody was just like, hell yes. And that was like his, that's his number one memory. I asked John Oates that same question, unrelated, but still funny. John Oates is a really close friend of mine, and I asked him about that same question one time. Moment when you just came in with the fucking money overdub, and he was like, oh, dude. He said, we were doing a session one time, and we had just got done for the day, and we really weren't planning on doing anything else. We were packing up, and Daryl had just gotten this new drum machine, and he was kind of goofing with it a little bit out in the live room, and he turned it on, and it just was sitting there playing a beat, and it was just going, and nobody really cared. Nobody was really trying to make a new song or anything. And he was just about to leave, and he picked up a guitar and he just plugged it in the console, and he was like, and everyone was like, okay, maybe we should stick around for a little longer. And that was right out of the horse's mouth. And John told me that story. You know that feeling? It's such a great feeling, man, when you come up with a part that's just fucking money, man. And like, I'd say for every 100 times you try it, you might get one. You know, like you try to come up with the money part, you know, and you just keep fishing. But man, when you find it, that it makes the clouds part, man, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I Can't Go For That. Is
that
the song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure I had the right one.
Yeah, and I don't know why that popped in my head. I remember that's one of the things I talked with Mike about. You know, he's a good guy. He's a very down to earth, kind of cool guy.
Were you at Tom's last gig? Was that at the Hollywood?
Man, I don't know. What I do remember, we never played the Hollywood Bowl with them, but I do remember we did a good bit of that tour, and I think they went on without us, and I think that maybe would have been a bit after, but that was definitely the year. I know, 2017. You know, and it was a bit of a shock to. Yeah, it's kind of a drag, man. It's just unbelievable. I mean, people ask me about shit like that, and I do wish that I had a video camera in my head that recorded all that shit, that I could just go, how about instead of me telling you what it was like, watch this, and show them a video of what it was like to be there. You know, because I'm terrible at explaining, you know, shit after it happened. You know, I'd come home from some amazing gig, and my wife, tell me about it. I'd be like, it was fun, you know, you know. But I wish I could just play the video for them. And some of the moments that I've been privy to, some of the things that playing the guitar has let me see. Fortunately, places I've been. It's just at age 54, it just amazes me, man. I think about it, it's like, this is unbelievable.